Hey everybody, how you doing? Great Saturday to you. As many of you know, I'm leading kind of a dual life. I'm taking care of my life and needs, but that has really altered because I'm helping my mom as a caregiver to her, at the same time trying to maintain my life in California. Um, a lot of pressure there, and I'm the only child. As you also know, I wasn't fortunate enough to meet Mrs. Wright yet. Could still happen, and have those great grandkids like for my mom, like many of my other friends do. So, but hey, as they say popularly, it is what it is. My landlord, or I should really say the property manager, and I'm not going to get into the names of the property manager, the people per se, suggested that in order to make sure I'm able to pay my rent in my place at Adams Point better, without fear of super stress and loss of weight and loss of hair and all that stuff, right? Let alone trying to rob Peter to pay Paul, which fortunately I haven't had to do, but there are others who have. Um, they said sign up for a number of rent programs. I signed up for Keep Oakland Housed, never got an email back from them. I signed up for California Rent Relief, the statewide program, and informed my landlord every step of the way. They got my application in March, and I thought, hey, this is great. So when the deadline came up um, last week, I thought, hey, I'm in Lake Flint, James Coburn, right? And this will be okay. One less worry. Well, Monday, I get this email from California. You call it housing is key, right? But anyway, they say, well, we can't help you. And I'm paraphrasing because you live in Oakland and there are programs there. And then the email contains a link to one of the programs. So of course you press on the link, and what does the website read that the link takes you to? It says, we're not accepting applications. So I'm thinking, wait a minute. You've had my application for, I thought 2 months. They said a month, but still a month? You had all that time to tell me that I was, as they say, out of jurisdiction, but yet waited until after the deadline for me to get help anyplace else, or at least an application in, to tell me you're not going to help, you're not going to take my application. It's not that, note, it's not that housing is key doesn't have the ability to help me. They are refusing to, according to the constituent services person that contacted me, whose name I'm going to leave out of this. In a fit of pique, I got the emails of and sent a mass email to each and every director of the California Department of Housing explaining this situation. Apparently, in response, they sent this constituent services director to me. So this person then proceeds to essentially, well, do what a number of people have done when I've called, read the text. And in his case, he sent me a piece of legislation, the piece of legislation that created the Housing is Key program to get assistance to people during who are, suffering, in my case, client loss because of the pandemic or other similar episodes. Um, he said, basically, it wasn't that he wasn't able to assist, all right? No, it was only because I live in Oakland. That's it. That's it. All right. And then he sends me the legislation. Now, I read, as regular viewers of my channel know, I read legislation. I have helped cause the drafting of legislation in California in the past. So he sends this to me, I guess thinking I'm not going to read it or try to intimidate me intellectually. There's nothing in the language of the state legislation that says that the state must reject you outright if you are in the wrong jurisdiction. And to prove my point even further, the constituent services person sends me nothing from the state in terms of the law, but a set of frequently asked questions that were drafted by Keep Oakland Housed. That's not a legal document. So in all this, he spends all this time trying to explain why he can't help me or won't. But at the same time, my landlord and another friend of mine who's a landlord, I'm sure there are other friends of mine out there who are landlords who've experienced this, have all told me they received help for their Oakland tenants from Housing is Key. So in other words, I guess I have to be a landlord to get help, but if I'm a tenant, they find ways to get rid of me. Gavin Newsom has been my longtime friend. This is the first time I've ever done this. Gavin, and I mean this, I mean using my YouTube channel and my network to get out a message directly to the governor. Gavin, you gotta fix this, man, okay? And showing numbers on a board that present how many people have been assisted, I think 2 million, when others look and say, well, it's lower. That's not the way to go. The way to go in this situation is to be brutally honest, even if it doesn't present the situation you want people to see, okay? That's the way to handle this. And if you actually just come out honestly and say, hey, look, we have delivery problems we're fixing. We have language that people don't understand. We're going to fix that. And we're going to make sure that those people who have been left unhelped, who are fearing loss of the roof over their heads, will receive that help, okay? We'll make sure they get it. As I look at it, you know, my landlord has been fantastic. And we've been friends for a long time. So as far as I'm concerned, the state of California owes them, not me, because that's what's going to happen anyway. They're going to get paid. You don't leave landlords in that position. But think about it. Given my friends have told me, hey, they got help. Now, the constituent services manager says, well, that had to have been during a period when we could assist them, da, 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 da. He's guessing, okay? Think about it. The program stopped, last week? But this person quotes a period from last year, even though you could still put an application in. He's trying to figure out reasons to not help. And then says, well, you can file an appeal. Of course I'm going to file it. You have 30 days to do so. Okay, fine. But as Bugs Bunny used to say, he don't know me very well, do he? I vlog. And in an environment that has been invaded by traditional media, where vloggers are not prized, bloggers are not prized, telling your story straight out like I'm telling it isn't prized, which is really damaging to the United States, I might add. This idea that you have to be dispassionate or objective. I remind everybody, and this is a momentary aside, that it was journalism, white journalists specifically, because who was black media back then, that backed the murder of 15-year-old Emmett Till just for something he was said to have done, which turned out to be a lie anyway. And what was that something? Saying hello to a white woman, Carolyn Bryant. She later admitted, hey, she lied. They killed him over a lie, and the white journalists didn't back it. They didn't, the same objective folk, right? So think about what I'm saying. I want you to think about what I'm saying very hard and unflinchingly. I'm doing this to tell my story because there are other people who are afraid to tell their story. And what a situation to be in. You have millions of people, billions around the world suffering because of the coronavirus. You have various different ways that government has addressed it. You have a political division between masking and not wearing masks that should not have been allowed to come to the fore. We had a president who used his bully pulpit to do just that. And the bottom line is, as I wrote 2 years ago, the United States is at a loss of a needed $9 trillion in assistance. Why? Because, ladies and gentlemen, and Governor of California, we have taken the legs out from under our economy. And this has happened around the world. Anytime you say to a business, you got to close, and more often than not, that business is bricks and mortar, you cut off people from spending money at that business. What you should say is, hey, by the way, we will pay you to close. Now, here's the good news, not done. And Governor Newsom, I really need you to pay attention to this, okay? AB 464 Mullen was passed in June of last year. The governor signed it into law in California. What is it? To make a long, complicated story short, it allows the use of property tax revenue locally in cities like Oakland through a method called tax increment financing, in which I'm an expert of over 30 years in terms of calculating tax increment revenues, to be used as the basis for a program that gets money specifically to businesses, perhaps yours, that have been negatively affected by the coronavirus. That impacts a lot of businesses. And note, it doesn't emphasize the business has to be bricks and mortar. It could be an at-home business. Has Oakland used this program? No. Has Alameda County? No. And folks, we're looking at a year where this legislation has been there and hasn't been employed at all, not even as a test case. And yet you have people out there suffering. You would say, well, Zinni, they're renters. How can it help them? Easy, because it can help the landlords who are business owners. You get it? They're small business owners. That's how. So folks, I'm telling you, there are actions we can take right now to turn this problem around. But where we are is at a state where government at federal, state, and local levels has not properly worked because of the enormous magnitude of need caused by the pandemic. That's why. But I am also here to tell you we can address, or as Gavin likes to say and others, meet the moment. We can do that. It is within our capability to turn this problem around tomorrow and get the ball rolling so that by the end of the year, we really are back to normal in terms of economic production and output. You're happy, your neighbor's happy, your families are happy, people who are sick from stress aren't sick from stress anymore, right? We can do this. So I hope this serves as some small catalyst for action by someone, because we need to act. It's not a matter of, well, yeah, definitely have faith in the Lord, but the God gives us the ability to help not just ourselves, but the brains to create systems and networks and technologies to help other people. I mean, we have to do something, because I'm telling you, somebody created that doggone virus and it hurt a lot of people by the billions. And don't get me started about where it came from. I only leave you with this thought. Of all the places in the world, don't you find it interesting, just saying, that the virus, which was reported to have been in some kind of way handled at the Wuhan lab, just happened to then surface at a market only 26 minutes away by by public transit? You can get there by, I think, by drive by 18 minutes, something like that. It's in the same town. Well, Wuhan's a big city, a dense city. I mean, why is it that that is the case? As opposed to, well, yeah, Wuhan lab handled it, but hey, you know what? First outbreak was in Paris. So something happened in Paris. In other words, a geographic distance away, or in outer Mongolia. That's not the case. The first outbreaks were reported to be at a market just minutes away from the lab. I mean, to quote a phrase from Mr. Spock in Star Trek, even on this side of the galaxy, 2 + 2 = 4. It stands to reason that the lab was involved in some kind of way. So we need to stop hiding about this and start looking at the truth and stop the left-right dichotomy that has really come to retard the creation of sound policy in the United States. We need to help the fossil fuel industry become cleaner. We need to help save people's jobs who are in those industries rather than casting them aside. We need to stop taking actions that don't help other people. You understand that, Constituent Services Director or Manager for Housing is Key in California? Our jobs should be to help each other. We're in the middle of a pandemic. There's no reason people have to suffer because of it. Subscribe to Zenny62 and bookmark oaklandnewsnow.com.